Welcome, 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 everyone, to Beyond the Battle Pain, Pageants, and Perspective for episode 4 Mending Mental Health. Thank you for joining us today and coming in just because you know that this show provides uplifting and encouraging stories to let you know that you are not doing this struggle on your own. Today, in Mending Mental Health, we will be talking with social worker Lanette Zapata, who has been a social worker for 9 years and is all about empowering people and driving change and growth in our community. So, without further ado, let's bring Lanette to the stage.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, I'm thankful for you inviting me, really. This is a really important subject, and I think the more it's talked about, mental health, the more we normalize it.
Correct. I believe that you are absolutely correct. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself because I'm sure that I did your bio no justice.
Oh, it's okay. I'll tell you a little bit. I like to be a little bit on the personal level. I think that makes everything a lot more human, right? When you share, I think it's in sharing stories that you make connections and relationships. So, a little bit about myself. I'm a UTSA graduate. Very proud of that. I have my master's in social work. I'm currently working on my clinical licensure to be an independent practitioner. I like to share this just because I think it inspires people. But I am a ninth grade dropout. I dropped out in the ninth grade and I achieved my master's. And I'm someone who has seen mental health up close and personal with my own struggles of breast cancer, losing my parents, just a lot of loss. And it really helps me really help others that are in the same positions in life.
Yeah, really, right on. So you can achieve, you guys all heard that you can achieve your goals and your dreams by moving forward, right? Putting some things in your rearview mirror. She went on to achieve her master's and is continuing her education. And I love, love, love that, Lanette. As you know, that mental health and continuing education are two of the three pillars on my platform. So I absolutely love hearing that.
That's
So,
awesome.
so let's talk mental health. Let's tell us what exactly mental health is so that we
Well,
know.
mental health can be, different things to people, the way they describe it. And for me, mental health is really picking myself up when no one's around, right? It's self-care. It's taking care of myself both mentally and physically. It really is just that inner how I feel about myself. It doesn't matter how anybody else views me. It really is that picture of myself and my confidence levels, my self esteem. It plays such an important role in how we internalize experiences and how we handle those experiences going forward.
Right. So mental health is really personal to each individual. Everybody's mental health isn't the same, right?
That is correct. I believe that we all have different experiences. However, we share in same emotions, right? We all share in depression. We all have had experiences of depression, anxiety, whatever it may be. We all experience it, but we experience it at different levels. But it is different to everyone.
So you said that we all will experience it at different levels, and no two people are going to respond the same. So how can
Absolutely.
someone recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health issues in themselves or others?
I think paying attention to patterns are very important. When you're looking at others, were they active before? Did they go to the gym consistently? Were they eating regular meals? And now all of a sudden they're withdrawn or they're isolated. Are they sleeping more? Physical ailments too. Mental health can have symptoms of physical ailments? Are they getting more headaches? Watch out for what they're saying or what they're not saying. I think those are important things to pay attention to. And even in yourself, when you feel yourself isolating, when you feel down, that's something to really pay attention to. You're not going for your usual walk. You're tired all the time. There's a lot of manifestations that happen also physically. So pay attention to your mental and physical health.
So I know that most people associate mental health issues with being down, kind of
Mhm.
dour. But are there some people that have issues and they have the zoomies? They might be moving faster than normal,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. I come across clients who experience, where they experience these manic episodes and they can't explain what's going on. Maybe they're out there spending, maybe they're out there spending their money frivolously. There's just different types. It's not all the same. Mental health looks different across the board.
There's no one size fit all. That's right.
No.
What do you think might be so as you talked about, there are so many different signs and symptoms. There are, people experiencing this um, on various levels. But what are some of the misconceptions about mental health that people, usually say, well, I can't see a counselor because I can't see a psychiatrist because.
I think there's a lot of stigma and shame associated with it. That you're not normal. You're not a normal functioning individual of society if you have a mental health disorder. Or another misconception is that it's a weakness.
Mhm.
That you're weak. Just get up. It's okay. Like, get up. You can do it. There's nothing wrong with you. That's another misconception. And I think those are the two that I hear the most.
Okay.
Two
Um,
that I hear the most.
is there, I grew up in a unique environment where a lot of times, I was kind of told that, you know, people that suffered from, mental health issues came from certain backgrounds or certain socioeconomic status. Is that true? Can we actually believe that? Is there science to this?
If there's people that have mental health issues that come from a socioeconomic status of like lower income.
Or yeah, maybe it's
Yeah,
lower
I,
income.
I think I think the environment definitely has an impact on mental health. I think people who don't have access to mental health. I think there's truth in that, but I don't think a certain race is predisposition to mental health disorders, right? Like a Hispanic population or African American population. Or do they have more depression than the other? It, I think those are misconceptions.
Okay, understood, understood. So, how do we get? What are some steps or tools that we can use to help, break up these misconceptions, these stereotypes? What are some of the things that we can actually do to kind of blast these myths? Because because clearly the world that we're living in right now, lots of people need help, right? So whether it
Um, Absolutely. Lots of people need help, especially after COVID. I think it's something that we're seeing in our a lot younger individuals, especially I would say high schoolers, even middle school, elementary school, experiencing anxiety, social anxiety, before, they were doing their work on a laptop. It was virtual. They got so used to it. Social skills declined, and then all of a sudden you put them back out, um, and in a school setting, and they don't know how to function properly. So enters in social anxiety. They don't know how to deal with it. There's depression. There's just so much that comes with it. But some of the things that people can do, they can look up on the site. NAMI is one of them, the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay.
They can also, if people want more information, they can contact their local LMHA, the local mental health authority. They do provide classes and education about mental illness.
Mhm.
Um, Definitely, there's so many resources. Bear County has a website, and it just lists so many resources. And there's so many resources that are accessible to the community that we can learn about, and then we can share that information with others.
I love that. So, as we know, stress is a contributing factor or can exacerbate mental health issues. Is that right? Um,
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely. Think about stressful jobs, relationships. All of those can play a huge factor in the way we function. Stress can cause even heart attacks, right? It can affect your physical health and vice versa. Your physical health can affect your mental health. So, those are so important to take care of.
so as we know that stress is a part of daily life, right? And we
Yeah.
have good stress and bad
Yeah.
stress. What are some of the things that we should be doing? Because, like, for the most part, most of us know we need to take a step back. We need to sit down. We need to eat healthier. We need to probably have less screen time. What are some of the big things that we really should be honing in on when we're trying to reduce our stress?
Sleep, exercise. I think those are the two big ones, right? Sleep and exercise, and really those grounding skills, that breathing, taking the time out to breathe, the meditation, even if it's just for a couple of moments, to step away from the busyness of life, right? Just to step away, even if it's for a few moments, to take time to reset. I think that's really important, and I don't think we take enough time to just take a step back, step outside, and really breathe and really feel those breaths in and out, because that really changes your state. And that is a form of grounding, inhaling and then exhaling very slowly. It really changes the pattern. If you're anxious, anything like that, if you're stressed, it really does change.
I will tell you, I am what did I say when I first met you? If there was a such thing as a AAA personality, it would be me. Like one of those things that I feel like just absolutely like blows my mind. Somebody will be like, "Oh, Kendra, just relax, relax, relax. What is that?" Like I think what
Yeah.
has helped this far is that I recognize that telling me to relax is a trigger. But most importantly, I recognize that I don't really know how to relax. And so I think identifying that and trying something new, like I have this whole big craft room behind me. I wish you guys could see all of this madness that's in here. But it is what really tones down the noise. So I would say try something new. If you've tried breathing and it didn't work, don't hyperventilate.
That's absolutely right. I always tell clients it's not a one size fits all approach, right? What I
Right.
tell you to do may not work for you, but it's okay to explore different things, because you might come across that one thing that really does magic for you. And it could be as simple as taking a walk. It could be as simple as breathing, right? If somebody were to tell me to relax too, I'd probably go off and not relax and become more stressed. But it's different. It's going to look different across the board for everyone. Um, and for me, my escape really to reduce that stress is exercise, because it
I love that.
also ups the endorphins, and that's the feel good hormone. And so that's always, always very important. To me, that's what works for me. But what works for me may not work for you.
Right.
So it's
I
important to
know
accept.
exercise has been a tremendous stress reliever for me. So while we're talking about stress relievers, I want to give a shout out for Seek and Destroy um, Rage Room. So I met this beautiful lady today. Her name is Samantha, and she's out in New Braunfels. So all my listeners, if you're here in Texas in the New Braunfels area, this is absolutely an amazing business to attend, right? So it sparked my interest because when I was deployed, we had our commo guy and our supply guy, and they took me out back one day and they were like, you just want to break some stuff. And I was like, break some stuff? Like, what are we talking about here?
That's
And they had
amazing.
all this like stuff that had been left behind from the previous unit that was not usable. Most of it was broken to begin with. But we had golf clubs and baseball bats, and you're throwing stuff up in the air, and you're just cracking it out. And you're just like, yes, I felt so great. Well, Seek and Destroy Rage Room out in New Braunfels, that's what it is. It's a big smash house, and you can go in there and smash stuff up. And yeah, talk about a
That
stress relief.
that sounds more on my level. I definitely love that idea because I think just, a lot of times we get that pent up frustration and we don't have a way to let it out. And that I think would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Just to get it all out and then feel light after. I haven't done that just yet, but I've done boxing, and I want to say it would be like the same concept, right? Like just getting it
Yeah.
out. And so a lot of times that's what people need to do. They just need to let it out, and
Right.
they don't know how.
Right. Right. And I'm glad that there are places like this. There's axe throwing, there's all kind of craziness. But again, that all goes back to trying something new. And I'm going to tell you, so after the workout I had, I'm in the last 14 days of getting ready for the Miss USA competition. So I had to get the boys' clothes to be all spiffied up for the dinners and different things. And so I really couldn't go out there today. But just know there's going to be some follow-up video because I'm going to be at the Seek and Revenge Rage Room having a smash off. And I
Oh,
hope that there's a huge smile.
I'm like, please invite me. Let me know when you're going. I'd love to join you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Um,
Definitely.
so what are you doing now? I know that you're working and you work with special different groups of people, but how does that work for you?
So right now, I'm working with clients with both mental health and substance abuse diagnoses, and I'm currently running groups, which I absolutely love teaching clients. It's an intensive outpatient program. It runs for 8 weeks. Amazing, amazing program. Teaching clients really to learn. I always say how to ride the waves of life. I say, here's the tools that you need, being like the surfboard, right? We're going to teach you how to balance because life has its waves. It's up and down. It's never just up. It goes both ways. And so I teach them to ride the waves of life and to balance on the surfboard, right? So they're not drowning. And that they know how to really rely on self versus external factors, such as others, right? A lot of times we do rely on those external factors, and then only for those external factors to go away. And then who are we left with?
Ourselves,
And
right?
so, really, I think the important thing for me is showing people how to pick yourself up, because I don't think we're taught that from a young age and how to show up for yourself. And that comes in a lot of forms, your self esteem, your self worth, your self confidence. All of those play a huge role in the way you show up for yourself.
Right.
So that's really that's a really important component. And I think when I ask people if they show up for others, when they're struggling, and we say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Like, how can I help you? What can I do? Like, tell me how I can help you. And you talk to your friend like that. And so the next question I ask is, do you talk to yourself like that?
Ooh, burn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like with kindness and grace and love, right? Like you want to be there for somebody, but often we don't. We really criticize ourselves, and we're really hard on ourselves. We think we should have everything in order, perfect. The life, and we're just really judgmental and critical, and you never grow from a place of self hatred, um, or just low self-worth and being mean to yourself. Like, you have to come from a place of kindness and grace, to move forward.
Right. I think I think that being prepared to also, so that you don't send yourself into a trigger, is when you are asking somebody, are you okay, or how can I help you? What is it that I can do for you? You have to really be prepared for what you're going to receive. You know what I mean? There are people out there that are so broken and hide it so well. So being truly, truly prepared for that will also help us be prepared for ourselves. I
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. I'm a big encourager of reading, the self-help books. One of the biggest things I love, and I've talked to you about this prior, but it's the book called The High Five Habit. And it
Yes.
really is a book about showing up for self. And I do go out on my own social media and I talk about this book, by chapter, and I'll go through the whole book. And the amount of feedback I receive, it is absolutely phenomenal. People message me that I haven't heard from, and they're reaching out saying, "Hey, Lanette, I need help. Can you help me?"
Right.
And it really is just putting it out there and saying, and actually opening up a little bit about myself, saying, "Hey, I've struggled too. It's
Hmm.
okay. It's normal." And like you said, some people just hide it better than others.
I
But we all have issues of life. We all deal with it.
Right. I noticed that you said that you help those with substance abuse as well as mental health. Um,
Absolutely.
is it also a misconception, maybe, that mental health or substance abuse, those that use substances have mental health problems and vice versa? Is that really a common or is that actually, is there
No,
some
that
truth to that?
No, there's that co-occurring. Usually, when somebody has a substance abuse issue, there's an underlying issue, right? That mental health issue that hasn't been addressed. And so really the alcohol is just a solution to their problems. So there is an underlying issue. Usually, we do those types of things to numb, whether it's in the form of alcohol, whether it's gambling or spending money, or overusing the gym. There's different forms, substance being one, to really numb the pain because we haven't been able to cope or deal with it. But those two
So
do go hand
I
in hand.
love before we go, we're going to put the name of that book back up on the banner
Yeah,
so the viewers can, matter of fact, let's do that right now. Let's put that banner up so people can start looking it up right now. And it's The High Five.
Habit by Mel Robbins. She's so good. I think what she really does, and why I really like the book, she takes really complex information and she makes it easy. to understand.
Show that the high five. Excuse my lack of title and capital letters, but
It's all good. I think people will understand.
yeah. So listeners, viewers, let's, if you have an opportunity, it's a great book. She recommended it to me before. And there's just really some great things in there that, like she said, the way that we speak to ourselves, the way that we think about ourselves, the way that we carry ourselves really shows how we are and how we take care of ourselves. So make sure that you guys check that out. Okay. Um, is there any other books that you would recommend as far other than the high five habit?
So one of the other books is The Body Keeps Score.
The Body Keeps Score.
Yeah. And so it's really, when we go through traumas, it really is not just about the external things that happen to us, but how we process it internally.
Okay.
Because it does start manifesting within the body. For example, breaking out in hives, right? Because of anxiety. If something happened traumatic, say there was a shooting, and 5 years later, balloon pops, you're triggered, you're startled. So the body recognizes that immediately. So I think that's another great book to read.
That's awesome. I know that I have some friends that sometimes, we'll sit down and, we may have some wine together or whatever. And um, the champagne bottles, I still really struggle with that. And it's kind of challenging having somebody understand, why, please just give me a heads up or put a towel over that before you pop that open. Let me know so that I can brace. And sometimes it's really challenging. But in saying all that, how do you recommend that when people are being triggered or know that something, how do you talk to those around you so that they do understand what it is that you're going through without, all the extra drama?
Just really taking a step back, and even maybe taking a step away. And then when they ask, saying, hey, like, these are my boundaries, like, I don't expect you to understand. However, this is what I need from you. And it really is about having just really open communication. And then how they respond is how you react to it. Right now you have the information and you've said this, and now it's your choice whether you want to show up in that environment or not. I always say the decision is yours. You can control that. That's up to you, but really just an open dialogue. And I think people are really open to that. Just being caring and kind. I think people are open to that. And I think, again, the more we talk about it, the better it's understood. And the more it is just normalized, saying like, oh yeah, sorry. That's why we're trauma informed, right? As an organization, the places that we work, because we don't want to re-traumatize our clients or individuals that have experienced trauma before.
Right, right. Understand. And sometimes is when you are with clients and things of that nature, is one of the things that is stressful for them, or is one of the things that provides is exacerbating mental health issues, the fact that they sometimes don't know how to communicate it with close friends or family, what they're going through or their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's exacerbated because a lot of times they feel like a burden on their family and friends. Like, I've already come to you with this. I've already, like, I feel so horrible. I feel like such a burden. Or they don't understand. They haven't experienced what I've experienced. So I'm just going to stay away. So yes, that can exacerbate it because then they find themselves isolating and saying, you know what, I'm just a burden. And then that story just can spiral you out of control. So yes, I think that has a huge impact.
Um, I know that there are. Do you think that there are jobs? I mean, like we know that military, first responder, those kind of jobs are, introduced on a regular basis, police to trauma. But are there jobs out there that there are, we might say, might hide issues in there that people just, it just kind of secretly creeps up on them? Is there,
Um, I think that can be anywhere. I don't think it's anybody is excused from that type of environment. I think it can happen in any environment where stress builds up, and if you work in an organization, people are not communicating, right? The frustration, the stress of the day exacerbates it. I've had clients working in facilities where they're caring for elder people, right?
right,
And so they see a lot of death and despair. And that can exacerbate, right? If they don't process what they experience, right? And they just internalize it and they hold it. And those things can exacerbate. I don't know if anybody keeps it secretly, but I just think it happens all over.
so when we recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health issues, what are good ways to ask for help? What are where if I, maybe if I don't feel so supported, what's a good way to reach out and just say, hey, you know what, I need help. And then I'll share a little bit about the time that I finally realized, like, oh sis, you have some issues, you need some help.
Yeah, I think if you don't want to go reach out to family or friends um, because you're experiencing stigma, I always promote 988.
Okay.
988 is simple. Um, they can call or text if they want to text. And like I said, sometimes individuals in that moment, they just need someone to talk to and they need some guidance because they don't know where to go. And so
Right.
they can provide that information to any individual. It's a national hotline. So, again, 988, you can call or text those numbers and they will help you. They do have people that you can talk to. And like I said, it really is awesome that they're starting to put more resources out for the community. But also, talking to your family and friends, you would be surprised. Like, there's so many people, again, that have experienced so many of the same emotions.
Right.
Yeah,
So I was probably mid career at this time in the Army, and I am fresh off of deployment. And when I say fresh, I mean like hours off of a deployment. And my little one was with family in another state. And I was happy. I was truly, truly happy to be home. And but I was exhausted. I was physically and mentally exhausted. And the physical exhaustion, I completely knew it, right? And
mhm.
so I'm a cereal eater. I love sandwiches. And I went to the Walmart to just get a few things to kind of tide me over because we still had reintegration and all of that stuff that we needed to do. And I'm in the store and it's super late. And this lady, she is dressed to the nines. I don't know who is dressed that well at that hour, but so be it. Um, and so she had one baby in the buggy and one little buddy that was maybe 3, maybe 4, and he's just kind of running around. And she is talking on her phone at the checkout, at the register. Um, and so this is around 2010, so the whole self checkout wasn't as prevalent at that time.
Mm.
Putting one thing at a time on the computer, note for the cashier. And I'm already like, are you kidding me? Are you
Yeah.
kidding? So I don't say anything, and I'm just kind of swaying back and forth, standing there humming Jesus on the main. Um, and the little buddy has snot. Like he's a snot factory. Some of it's dry, some of it's not. And he's running around and he's breaking stuff and opening little chippies. And she's still on the phone. And while she's on the phone, though, she's talking about her spouse and she's discussing how, she's going on and she's, how much she loves him. But in the next breath, she's talking about how, he's always gone for work. He's never home. And she's, if she wanted to be a single parent, she would have just had kids without being married. And when he's home, he's smothering her and she can't breathe and all of the things, right? And I was like, man, she really loves this guy, but she doesn't know if he gets on her nerves or if she loves him the most, right?
Yes.
In the meantime, the little buddy in the buggy is starting to kind of whine and rub her eyes. The littlest buddy has stepped on my toe probably 10 times at this point by now.
Oh no.
And the lady's still putting one thing at a time on the conveyor belt. And I made eye contact with the cashier, and it was just like we had this mutual understanding. And all of a sudden, I snapped. I just snapped, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You are talking on the phone, putting one thing at a time on this belt, and you got 11 things in here." I was like, "Your buddy is running around with the snottiest nose in the whole world." I was like, "You have a loving husband who clearly is working to provide for you because you're dressed like a mannequin out of a high-end super department store." I was like, "But yet all we're doing is complaining." I was like, please get yourself together, get your family together, and get out of the store so the rest of us can just move on. I didn't say any swear words or anything like that, but you can see the look on those children's faces. Are like, oh my God, is this lady getting ready to beat my mom up? Oh my God. And so I noticed it and I witnessed it, and I just left my cart and I walked out of the store. It's raining or whatever. And I was like, yo, you just blew up on that lady in front of her babies. That is so not cool. And so at that point, like one of my things that my mom used to always say when I was younger was how I was her optimistic and positive kid. And in that moment, I was not optimistic. I was not positive. I was beyond bothered. And what I did was that outburst was not right. It wasn't okay. And if I can have, because I felt like in the moment, I felt like that was a little outburst. But looking back on it, if I had have done that to me, we'd have probably had a misunderstanding, a whole misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It probably
Sure.
right. It probably wasn't that small in the grand scheme of things. And so when I recognized, you probably need to talk to somebody. And I remember he was my then fiance, my now husband. And I was like, man, I just snapped this lady up at the store, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, it's okay to talk to somebody. He was like, you're a doc in the unit. He was like, you spend your time talking and helping everybody else. Who's helping you? Who's taking care of you?
Right.
Put that into perspective for me, because I was like, I keep telling people to go get help. Maybe you should try it yourself, sis.
Yeah.
That was the recognizing step for me. And so I say all that to say that when you recognize it, it is okay to get help. It is not okay to sit in your madness and sit in your frustration and your stress and let these issues just build.
I think you're absolutely correct. And I tell people a lot of times the things that have happened in their life, it's not their fault, but it is their job to get themselves help, right? It is our job. It is our duty to make that happen, to reach out. But sometimes we can't. And, I think, again, it's taking a look, at patterns. What were they doing before? What are they doing now, right? Paying attention, outburst. Um, all of those things do help identify. Just sitting down and talking and really, I think also getting to know someone, building rapport. I'm all about relationships, relationship. I think the more that somebody trusts you, the more you can get out of them. And it really is about being non-judgmental, and really just really caring and seeing the person for who they really are.
Mental health issues don't make a person a bad person. It makes them a person with mental health issues.
Yeah, I always just say like people are stuck. We're stuck individuals. Like we're stuck, and that's okay. But and again, like you said, it's not okay to sit in it.
Right. So we've done a lot of chatting. We've
Yeah,
talked about various things, signs and symptoms, resources, great books to read, recognizing or being able to ask for assistance.
yeah,
What advice, if you could say anything to our listeners today, anything, whether it's a story, a piece of advice, what would you say to them?
I would really say to be kind to yourself. I think I see it too often. Um, that we are just, again, just so critical of ourselves, and really just be nice, show up for yourself in that way. And I think that you will grow tremendously. I think that's one of the things that has helped me along the way is to stop being so critical. None of us escape this life. Uh, right? We all have a date, and don't spend it living in isolation, in fear, and in depression. Like, be kind to yourself, get the help that you need, and yeah, like things are going to be okay.
I like it. Well, I want to thank you so much, Lynette, for being on the show and for giving us such great advice and helping us identify some. Before we go, what
Yeah.
are what are some risk factors? Are there risk factors for mental health issues?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, family history is a risk factor. I think unemployment, risk factor, not fitting into groups, just like the isolation. Um, I think financial, that's, in today's economy, huge risk factors for mental health issues. Um, I think also, domestic violence, mental health issues. There's just a lot of propensity for mental health issues surrounded by that.
Understood. So
Absolutely.
thank you so, so much for being here on the show and providing us with your great wisdom and knowledge. And I hope that we have you back soon.
Thank
Maybe we'll
you.
have a short yoga session before we get
That
into.
would be awesome. That'd be awesome. We're first, like, that, what was it called? That smashing session.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a yoga after, right? To calm down. That'd be amazing. We need to put those two
Yeah.
together.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we will see you next time. And I promise you, before I go to the Seek and Destroy Revenge Room, I will text you.
That's
Okay.
that's awesome. All right. Thank you so much. And best of luck to you. I know you're going to do amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate that.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. See you later.
Bye bye.
Friends. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode with all the knowledge and wisdom that Lanette shared with us, helping us understand what mental health is, what it looks like, what the risk factors are. And remember that for the most part, we have a choice, and it is our job, as she stated, it's our job to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, right? Nobody is going to take care of us better than we do. So look out for yourself, Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. The world isn't easy. Smile because it might just save somebody's life. Thank you all for joining me on Beyond the Battle, Pain, Pageants, and Perspective on episode 4, Mending Mental Health. And we'll see you next week for episode 5. Until next time, ciao.